And it's happening. All right. So here we are for Friday, March the 24th of What's Up Universe. There are some massive shifts, of course, that are playing up in this last week of March. I can't believe here we are already making way in space for April, for springtime, and really embracing what is this new beginning. It has a lot to do with what's playing out within the cosmic atmosphere as well. A lot of what is a shift and change within how we feel, the pace of our life, the experiences that we are being invited to, the conscious choice that still continues to sit, and of course, the invitations always for more self-care, more self-care, more self-care. So there is a lot of what is a emotional release that's taking place. I know yesterday morning I had posted, I was feeling really emotional yesterday. Even in every one of my client sessions yesterday, they were deeply emotionally healing sessions. We are being placed, thanks to some of the shifts and changes. I mean, yes, Pluto is having its way. Mars moving into Cancer, beginning to really activate our emotional body, starting to drudge up some of those things that maybe we haven't tended to, that need attention. And of course, for who we are as mediums, and understanding that our emotional body is what dictates our connection to the other side. It is the vibrational equilibrium that really dictates our experiences, our receptivity, and the clarity in which we have in terms of the veil between worlds. So this is very impactful for us as mediums. So if you've been feeling, again, a little bit, kind of mushy or emotional, or even sensitive to the world around you, sensitive to the spirit world, even sensitive emotionally, we can thank Mars for that. It's definitely beginning to activate that our light body and our connection to the other side with helping to clear up the veil, any obstructions, anything that is altering or affecting us from being able to sustain within vibrational radiance of what is our most aligned self. It's definitely helping to clear up anything that has been obstructing or is in the way in that regard. So you can expect here, I mean, this is a time where, again, family comes up. Cancer, of course, being a part of our family, our relationships, our lineage, etc., the ancestral scope of things, which means this is also going to be a really interesting time, interesting and kind of euphoric, but very healing time for us as mediums as well, because this means that it also is an increase to connection to our loved ones on the other side. So again, when we look at it, it's not only what we understand to be family relational in terms of our day-to-day life, but family relational on the other side as well. So if there are any outstanding, challenges that you are still, I would say, outstanding wounds, things that have been were challenging as a result of a relationship with someone on the other side, you can expect perhaps that they're going to be showing up for some reconciliation, for helping to heal what is the imbalance within your own self, in order to regulate and and just be able to have more ease within your own life as well, and ease in connection to the other side. Because even when we are having what are harboring resentments with a spirit on the other side, even if we are in a place where maybe we don't want to hear from them. And I certainly have some of my loved ones on the other, I call them loved ones. They're loved because of, they exist in love now. But there are definitely some that I'm like, I'm not interested in talking to you. Like, I will talk to you when I get to the other side, but right now I'm not interested in talking with you. And that's probably not the very spiritual thing to be doing, right? However, there is invitation here for us for reconciliation, for us to be able to clear that up with any impediments or anything with any of those individuals on the other side. Every time we do that, we become clearer and clearer within our field. We become more available, and we're able to process the information that we are receiving from the other side even clearer. So again, just to kind of like a little heads up that this, if you can be wondering why you've got some loved ones showing up that you absolutely don't want to be dealing with on the other side, this could definitely be why. They come forward from love. And of course, we know, as always, sometimes we think we know what we need, for our lives, and yet they see our hearts. They understand what would be most beneficial if we're helping us to move forward in more defined or definite purpose through our mediumship as well. So again, just going to play that out on the table for however that shows up. Again, it may not be a part of your experience this week, but just to know that that definitely is something else that is at play. So we've moved into now, again, we're going to be in this energy now for a while. This is going to be something that is, yes, it's new for us right now. It's a chance for us to get, complete lessons, heal up the karma, so that we're ready to move on. So this energy now is really changing our energy levels. It's going to change how we approach our life, our calling, our purpose, the conscious choices that we're making. And again, the invitations to make those choices in accordance to what's aligned, what sits within the heart. It's like we need to really, instead of talking from what we could say our head or talking from the ego, a reactionary state for our lives, the invitation here is for us to speak from our heart. So it's like our voice, it's like our lips, it's like our mouth is being asked to be directed to sit more within the center of who we are, so that we're able to express ourselves from a higher state of what is love, what is compassion, what is generosity of spirit, as opposed to allowing for some of those egoic reactions to take place. Now, this here again, because the invitation is for us to move into more of this heart-centered way of living our life, which has been a vast invitation for us, even through a lot of the energies over the last year and a half. And I know I would say it's even more than that, because I remember even when I started my spiritual journey, this was always about living in heart-centered. Heart-centered was the invitation for all of us all the time. But here again, if we don't feel emotionally connected with something that we have going on in our life, if it's feeling more passive, we're probably not it's probably not aligned, and that's really going to start to show up for us here over this next phase of energy. So again, the invitations here are to take matters of the heart seriously. Again, if that means relational, in a relational way, then to look at doing that. But here again, it is all about the invitations of pursuing the very things that we are passionate about, the things that drive us, the things that bring us joy, the things that we truly desire to be doing and living and being within our lives. This is the invitations here are asking us to commit wholeheartedly to who we are, wholeheartedly to the work that we feel called to do. So again, we want to look at these kind of passions, these things, that this inner calling of what drive us, to understand our direction and purposes as well in life. So again, this is going to bring up matters of the heart. Again, anything that's unresolved, things we need to heal. It's all about the emotional body, right? Getting a little bit triggered. Just know that this last week, especially as we come into this new energy, we're going to be more sensitive. Like I said, this is going to raise some things that maybe we haven't been adept at working at. Maybe there's another layer of something that needs to be resolved, et cetera, et cetera. So again, it becomes a real driving force for us. There's a real cosmic change up that's happening right now. So we're going to be experiencing life, experiencing the other side in a more visceral kind of way, which means clairsentience is going to be amplified, and so is empathy, right? So we look, the more visceral experiences that we're having, which means the sensitivity on the emotional body is going to impact those two soul senses as well. So again, if you are someone that maybe doesn't like to feel, and I know there's a lot of you out there, where you kind of suppress, you can think about how you feel, but you don't give yourself permission to feel the energy, to feel the emotion, etc. This is going to really be, or create some really big invitations for you to really get into yourself, to get into your emotional body, and to process the information that you're receiving from the spirit world in a more direct, or a more Again, I just keep using the word visceral, but because it's such a even kinesthetic kind of way of experiencing. So that's going to be amplified under this next wave as well. So when we look here to, we're going to have even with it, what's going to be so massive feeling energy, feeling it in the body, feeling it emotionally. But the beautiful thing about this is it's actually going to bring on an added dose, all of that extra feeling of knowing as well, which means the claircognizance is going to be keener and sharper as well as we move, not just within this week, but as we move here now in terms of this I would say it's like to kind of the end of March, where again there'll be another change up of energy. So Mars is in Cancer here now for this period of time, which is going to just bring this up of increased sensitivity on the feeling scope of things and generating a keener sense of knowing. And that knowing, of course, always being driven from that heart space, from that place of compassion, that place of centeredness, that place of I would say soul over the human, so to speak, right? The higher self leading through it all. So here again, so these next seven, these next few months now are going to, I think it's not 7 months, the next 7 weeks. That sounds better. We not months. Oh my God. So there really is going to be this change of pace. There's also going to be a shift and change in what feels like motivation as well. So motivation is it's going to be a lot gentler. Again, we're being asked to slow down. Again, that's really what water always invites us to, is to stillness and to calm. And so because of it, if you've been active and you're someone who is generally active a great deal of the time, if you're overthinking, overdoing sometimes in life, the invitation is for stillness here now for this next phase. Stillness, of course, the invitations here always sit within meditation. And so we look at using our this opportunity to catch our breath, to slow down, to meditate as one of the ways for us to become clearer and keener in terms of interpreting what it is that we are receiving from the spirit world as well. So this you can expect here. So our emotional bodies, we're going to have a stronger influence emotionally here. Again, paying attention so we're not reacting, that we're more in response, we're centered, we're able to respond to things. But again, a sense of drive that's going to come from perhaps a little bit of being emotionally charged behind things. So it can also be, when we look at it, because it sits with Mars, I mean, Mars in astrology, when we look at it, it's very feisty, it's very ferocious kind of energy. So what it's going to do is behind the emotion, it's going to really kind of fire it up. It's going to really move it into, I want to say, a stronger influence, or what's going to kind of have us to face or show up. I mean, it's really what becomes a driving force, initiating the changes that need to play out, not only in the scope of vastness and consciousness, but an initiatory in terms of helping us to get more clearer defined and steady on our own path and purpose through mediumship. So there is going to be, I want to say, just to approach whatever comes up from the place of being centered. There is such strength. And I think this is about what this energy really is teaching us. Our strength comes from gentleness. Our strength comes from softness. Our strength comes from compassion and vulnerability. So this becomes an important piece of the equation for us as well. So this is really going to be a time during this time we're going to be inspired to stand up for what we love. We're going to be inspired to do the work that we're called to do in this lifetime. We're going to be taking charge and taking action when it comes to matters of our home, the home environment, the people that are close to us, but more importantly, the matters of our heart. And every time we're looking at healing and clearing and working through this, we are going to become clearer and clearer in terms of our connection to the other side as well. Okay. Here, so we look at, what do we want to do here? How do we do this? Well, I'm going to tell you what this is going to be: self-love, 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 self-love. This is the signature of the energy now where we move into. So we know that as a the invitation is always to love ourselves more, to love, to understand, to nurture ourselves, to stay open, and not only to possibilities, but open and expanded within our energy, as opposed to closed down or constricted. So here again, anything you can do to nurture and to care for yourself, whether that be, in terms of some of the deeper healing scope of things, making sure that we're always, being asked to heal, to become clearer, to let go, to transform, to transmute. That's really a part of the scope, the vaster scope of being a spiritual empath. It's a constant for us. And so the more that we can love, care, find the stillness, do the things that nurture our spirit, nurture our health, or nurture our energy, is really what becomes a very important part of the equation as we move into this changeover energy through this week. Okay. And for up until, really, as I said, into the latter part of May. So here again, just know you might feel that this is a time where, as you're moving through these energies, maybe this is a time where you are going to feel tired. You might recognize that you do require more balance in terms of work, the doing of things, and the your being state, the being of just settling, of just resting, of just taking some ease or catching your breath. So there's going to be increased here as well. And this is in support of us as we move into fulfilling what is our soul's greater potential in this lifetime. But there is this scope of that needs to be addressed and held of importance as well. We need to be held as of importance for during this phase. So again, as always, just doing what you can to nurture, to care for you, and to know that there's the willingness, I guess, to just allow ourselves to come into flow. Isn't that what, water sign, hello Cancer, inviting us to move more into flow with life. This is actually going to be of greater benefit for the work we're called to do. It's actually going to awaken or activate what is a state of higher conscious awareness for ourselves, so that we're able to interact with life in general. Excuse me. Oh my gosh, I know what I need to talk about. We're going to be able to interact with in our life in a more compassionate, more, on a general basis, but it's also going to allow for us in that steadiness, in the stillness, where we need to become practiced as mediums. The key is we need to slow down. We need to slow down so that we can hear the whispers of spirit, so that we can take pause and really listen to what's being said behind the sound. We need to look at what it is we're feeling, what it is we're, physically, emotionally, all those things. And it requires us to slow down. So this is a big piece of this. We're going to be feeling this expansiveness and movement towards greater expression of purpose. But also here again, where our energy, these waves are really asking us to slow down in order to help us to live and serve and be at our greatest expression, or in the highest frequency and vibration that we can offer to those whom we're called to serve. So there is, if you've been feeling this need to slow down, to sleep in the morning, if you've been thinking that, you're going to bed maybe earlier than what you normally do, all of that is a change within the cyclical nature of these energies right now. So the key here is to honor whatever that is going to honor your natural rhythms, allowing you to flow with what is necessary and needed. Now, again, I want to bring attention to the throat here as well, because there is some influence from Mercury here as well. Mercury is about our communication. And so the invitations here in increasing our stillness to become greater communicators is really what they working so in tandem right now in helping us to express those messages, those that information, that wisdom, etc. So there's going to be here a real sense of connection to the unseen world, a real connection or a real sense of conspiring or co-creating within our lives. There's going to be some, again, focus here on what the matters of our heart. What are those things that we really do want to accomplish and fulfill within this lifetime? What are those goals? Those are going to be a part of it. It's an important part of the overall theme of energy for this year, but there's going to be a lot through this settling here as we focus, as we breathe, as we create stillness, where we are listening and hearing, and again, listening to the guidance, listening to the direction, listening to what feels right, best, and true for us from that place of greater heart center. Okay, so that's also, so there is a a movement for us to be able to express our truth, to communicate with the other side. And when we look at communication or communication center, that living in balance isn't just about being able to speak and write and share what is the external of it, but also the invitation to balance that throat chakra, to be able to stop, to listen, to be still. And that really, where we look at a fully balanced throat chakra means that we can speak our truth, we can share messages from the other side, and that we've become very skilled and practiced at slowing down and at listening without judgment, listening with compassion, listening with wonderment and curiosity, as opposed to interrupting, to gossiping, to cutting people off in the middle of their sentences. Things like that are all indications of an imbalanced throat. So this is also going to be a part of what begins to play out for us over this next week as well. The other key thing here, just as I wrap up, because there's so much here as well, we're going to be, through this time, these influences are also going to continue to not idealize, hang on a second, to manifest or bring into form in terms of knowing our value and our worthiness. So there's going to be an increase of what might feel like lack of confidence, because there is an activation within the solar plexus right now, but it isn't in terms of detriment or in terms of there being something like you not being good enough. It's just that those patterns of feeling insecure, those patterns of feeling not trusting, the patterns of feeling or lacking confidence, there's a part of this here that we're being reminded of our own self-worth, of our own intricate value, of the worthiness of doing this work, of us feeling more confident in what we're, the best medicine is always, when we are lacking confidence, is to follow through with things. So that's going to be some of that motivating energy, so that we're going to be building more confidence in our connections to the other side as well. And that's all going to be, of course, that is happening from that solar plexus. So again, you might find here, maybe you have a tummy ache, maybe you are not hungry, or maybe you want to just have cravings and want to eat so much, whatever it is, just know that you are honoring the solar plexus. And go back into the level 1 manual, look at really focusing always. We do that with our expansion meditation to balance and align those energy centers, but I really invite you this week to look at really creating some time and space and effort towards balancing of the the solar plexus, and balancing for the throat. You're going to see that that's going to help you to have more ease and make it through this next week with a little bit more grace. So that's my spiel this morning for What's Up Universe. And again, sending you so much love as you navigate and move through this week ahead. So